She arrives on time in high-heeled shoes, and she's got the cure for your RV blues. Hey there, have you heard the news? GiGi saves the day. The contract there is just no match. She'll even spot the smallest catch. You'll breeze right through the roughest patch, 'cause GiGi saves the day.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Tom Alexander. And of course, as always, I am joined by the one, the only, GiGi Stetler. Hey, GiGi, how are you?
Hey, great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. And I know it's another busy week here at the RV Advisor, and there's a lot going on. And I know that there's we talk about this fairly frequently, but there's so much that's involved, and it's so critical for people to understand warranties and
Yes.
really what is on that page, because whatever you sign up for is what you get, but sometimes including some surprises.
Yes. And, we've been at this, well, I've been at it in general for 35 years, but,
Yeah.
So since we formed the RV Advisor, to advise people on the type of warranties and, what's best warranties and, coverages, full exclusionaries and, so much terminology. And I'm actually quite impressed with a lot of our members, or, people that are inquiring on rates and stuff, getting quotes from us. And, they're educated, but, they're comparing prices to prices and coverage to coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with all that said, we have now represented quite a few companies out there, and our representation can only be as good as the company that actually stands behind the warranty. And the difference that we always say, if buying the warranty from us, we go to bat for you when something falls between the cracks. And a lot of times, about 95% of the time, if a claim is denied, it's usually the way the shop either calls it in, or the customer reports the diagnosing or the failure or something like that. So that's usually kind of what happens. But so long story short, after putting all these pieces together, we have been working with insurance company, and we have designed our own RV Advisor Motor Club warranty. And it may sound a little pricier, when we start to compare prices and stuff, with other companies. And I know people are saying, well, we're so new, but we've made, we're in the process of completing this deal with it's all about who you're backed with. It's not the administrator. So we basically would be the administrator. And we've built this policy. It is a little bit more expensive. But what we did with and when I say more expensive, I'm talking maybe $100 to $200 more in comparison. And what we've done with, the difference in that money is we're putting it into a fund for goodwill. Because, like I say, what happens is a lot of claims are just borderline, where they technically shouldn't be paid, but, as an RV Advisor member, we want to be able to go back and work something out where we pay the claim in full, or, or part, or shared, or something, so that's super important, and it's, so adding, that money would go in a pot for everybody, to be able to fill in those, those gaps. And, we have actually, Christina was supposed to join us, but she's stuck on the phone on hold with a State Farm claim for about 45 minutes now and didn't want to lose her spot. So we have a member that had purchased a warranty from us, and he bought a coach from North Trail, and a quite expensive coach from North Trail RV Center in Naples, and he bought our extended warranty, not theirs. So he had it, I don't know, I think he bought it back in June or something, and he is having an issue with his satellite dish. And so he took it to the shop, he took it to North Trail,
Mhm.
and they, there she is.
Hey,
Ah,
there she is. Look
ah.
at that, as if
You
by
wanna sit
magic.
there?
I'm listening. Yes.
Okay, so I'm just talking about
Took it to
Frank,
North
right?
Trail, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he buys the coach from them, buys the warranty from us, has a problem, I believe he bought it in June, has a problem with the satellite dish, takes it back to North Trail.
Mhm.
You know, didn't call us and give us kind of the heads up at the moment, because we might have been able to guide him through it. So he takes it to North Trail. North Trail diagnoses the satellite and says it's not repairable, and talk to Weingart, I guess, and this and that. And they're trying to sell him a brand new satellite system,
Yeah.
which is thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
So the customer member, he called us. We went to bat for him because, we got the PDI sheet that when he bought it, that it was working, that everything was working. And that's important to get a PDI when you're purchasing a vehicle, so that you can show that those items were working
Right.
when you purchase it, so it doesn't become a pre-existing, problem.
Yeah.
So that all was, working fine, where we actually had a copy of the PDI, and we sent it off to the insurance company, to the warranty company, and we're arguing with them that this is not a pre-existing problem, because, it was working. Here's the paper that, the dealer signed off that it was working. Well, so then they come back and they say, well, we talked to the customer, your member, we talked to him, and the member policyholder on a recorded line told the agent at the insurance company that it never worked.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he went on to describe the entire series, that when he bought it, and then he got DirecTV and it didn't work, so he went and bought a Dish Network box, and he couldn't get a signal, and he had this and he had that, and just didn't have time to take it back, and he never was able to get a channel, he never was able to get it working.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something you don't tell the warranty company.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
So now the warranty company, after we fought with the warranty company
Right.
for a week, then they sent us the recorded call, and it was kind of hard for us to, we're trapped. So we get the customer on the phone. He goes, well, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant I never was able to get a signal. And, so it's really kind of hard to backpedal on that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So, before you really have to think about stuff before. And I truly, honestly believe that it never worked with North Trail. It never did work because they didn't have the proper testing. They most likely, and actually, if you remember, Tom, we interviewed the guy at the show, at the RV show last week. Remember, I brought it up to the salesman?
I remember it very well.
And I asked him if he could do me a favor, because we have a members coach sitting in your North Trail service department.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he actually openly admitted that most likely it didn't work because they didn't hook up a box to test it. So they never do that. So now my poor member is stuck between, yes, he said the wrong thing, but so long story short, we got him to get it out of North Trail, and we are trying to find somebody to repair it. And there's where our goodwill comes in, that we are RV Advisor and the warranty company are going to split the cost to fix the guy's satellite system, but not at North Trail. We are taking it elsewhere. We're finding somebody else to do it. So that's the difference between buying a warranty from someone outside of, our assistance. Nobody else would have done that. So
yeah.
no other warranties. So what we've done is we've designed this warranty. We've built in money, because the one that we sold this customer, there's no money really built in for goodwill. Yeah. We're actually, going to be out of pocket, but we're going to build in goodwill. So these kind of things that fall between the cracks, we could take care of.
Well,
Right.
let me ask,
Like,
Yeah, I was just making
Christina
notes.
Hurst is our operations manager at the RV Advisor, and I know you're not unfamiliar with this particular case, Christina. So, do you have anything to add? If you want to move up a little closer, we will probably hear you better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's why we're here, for you guys. We're basically your advocate, right? So I wish you would have told us after the fact. He said, well, Christina was there for 7 weeks. I said, why are you calling me now? I wish you would have called us 7 weeks ago, because he had to pull it out of there. He was just on that coast of Florida.
Yep.
And he bought it to them, and they had a few IOUs. So he went there and had that serviced, and had our extended warranty that.
Remember he said, so North Trail, which I'm not very happy that they did this, but they told the customer, well, if you'd have bought our warranty, you would have never had this problem. So they're punishing the guy because, they didn't get the business. Well, but interesting is that they probably would have covered it because they would have lied and said it was working, but if they would have talked to the customer would have said it wasn't working. So most likely they wouldn't have covered it because they always verify with the customer.
Yeah.
So even though they said that, they would have still had to have fudged because they were the selling dealer. So sometimes if the selling dealer sells you a warranty, you could shove it right back to them and say, well,
Right.
you told me it was working, so it's, so it's kind of a double-edged sword there for the dealer to to say that, oh, you should have bought it from me and it would have been covered, because he wouldn't have really had Nortra would not have had the proper diagnosing and hooked up a satellite box tester to test the system, because you can't test it without a box.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting, but I think he just intentionally punished the customer, but and that can happen, sometimes, you'll piss the dealer off if you don't buy their warranty. But if you call us first, we'll get it taken care of somewhere else if that's the case.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. So with this new program, we want to be able to control it. So when the claims come in, we're going to see those claims. We're going to know what they are. We're going to tackle them firsthand so that we make sure it's a very smooth, transition, and, you don't say the wrong thing, because, as far as the guy was concerned when he bought it, he didn't think everything was working. So he should have taken it right back if it didn't work when he tried to hook up the box, but
Yeah.
he didn't.
So warranties are critical to understand every nook and cranny of those warranties. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll come back with some questions. Our special guest. Thank you, Christina. Christina Hurst, our operations manager. Appreciate you jumping in, and we will be back.
Here are 5 words every RV enthusiast should know: advocacy, community, education, resources, rewards. That's what the RV Advisor was built on, along with protecting your rights. Visit thervadvisor.com.
We are back. Along with GiGi Stetler, I'm Tom Alexander. And GiGi, we got a couple of questions. The first one's from Colleen. And I don't think we've actually had this yet. Wondering about pop-up campers. We don't get too much of that. But what's your take on pop-up campers for a starter, somebody just getting going?
Great starter. I started in the RV business from park models to pop-ups. That's how I started in the business, selling pop-ups. So I was the #1 Coleman dealer in the country, and at some point. So it's a great starter camper. I would say the pros and cons. The cons, depending on where you live, weather-wise, if you're in the north, temperature-wise, it could be a little cold if you're planning on camping in colder temperatures. If you're in Florida, in South Florida, don't put it away wet. So, if it's raining, when you go to put it down, all that water goes inside the camper. Make sure you put it back up. There's a lot of things to know about them, but it is a great starter unit. It is a lot of work, but it's a good starter unit. It's good for towing. You can put it in your garage. easy storage. Check the weight, make sure that, because a lot of people that buy pop-ups is because that's all they can tow. So make sure that you're within the weight of whatever, if you're towing it with a small car. Some cars that have like a unibody frame are only able to tow 1,000 pounds. So you need to get one of the smaller ones that are under
Right.
1,000. So there's some, weight issues that you must consider if you're looking at pop-ups and towing with a small car.
Right, right. And we have another question from Joe, and this is about bad roads, and we have a wanting to know specifically about. I've got my fifth wheel, and when I know that I have to go over bumpy surfaces, what am I going to do? Like what this is something that people have to deal with. You're going somewhere and the roads are rough. What is your recommendation with that?
Well, if you're dealing with, there's a difference in rough roads from just like off-road where it's a dirt road, just a dirt road without potholes, or there's soft sand, there's many different things. But one thing you have to be very careful when you are on a, I would call it kind of a slick dirt road where there's it's very rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hit the brakes. Try to actually, if you start to go a little jig-jag, hit the gas. A lot of people fear and they hit the brake thinking they're going to slow down, and what that does is it swings your hind end like this. So you don't want to do that. You want to hit the gas so that your fifth wheel stays in line. So sometimes they say, driving a little faster, you can get a little bit better shock, which is true. But
Right.
Don't drive any faster than you feel, than your comfort zone. But sometimes with the slower, the other thing is to check your if you're always going to be on those kind of roads, the type of hitch that is on your fifth wheel. There's a lot of new designs with the shock absorbers on the fifth wheel plate itself, on the hitch itself. So I would look into that if you know that you're always going to be on those kind of roads, to put the shock, make sure that you have a good shock system on the fifth wheel itself, on the plate.
Terrific. All right. So Joe and Colleen, thank you for your questions. If you have a question for Gigi, just write us at info@thervadvisor.com. That's the RVadvisor.com, and just put in the subject line JAG. That's Just Ask Gigi. Well, another show wrapped up, and we will see you again next time on Just Ask Gigi. Thank you, Gigi. Special thanks to Christina Hurst, our operations manager, for popping in. And thanks a lot, Gigi. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
So long, everybody.
Did you enjoy this video? Be sure to like, comment, and share, and hit the bell icon. Remember, ding ding, so that you're notified when new videos are uploaded. As always, don't forget to subscribe.